Good evening, paranormal community, and thank you for partaking here in this wonderful edition of the Odyssey Files. I'm your host, Michael O'Neill. Back with me after being sick and celebrating his 137th birthday is my co-host, Mr. David Sawyering. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Mike. Good evening, everybody. It wasn't my 137th, it's 134th. But you're close.
You know, just counting the rings around the eyes.
Yeah. Oh, well, in that case, yeah, I can see 147 probably. All those wisdom marks, my friend. Wisdom marks. That's what you call them.
Yes, indeed. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Exactly. Mostly yes, though.
Sure, we can go with that. So, got a great show for everybody tonight. That I've been looking forward to for many weeks, even though it's not the conspiracy theory type realm that Dave had promised me,
right?
Because after like a month and a half, still seems he can't find his research on that conspiracy theory in its own. Maybe.
No, I've just been swamped at work. Honestly, it's just been, this week was just brutal, and next week's going to be brutal. So something to look forward to in 2025. We will definitely hit David's crop circle conspiracy theory, and I will blow out of the water all of the skeptics that want to say the crop circles are not legitimate. And we're going to put a preemptive strike on that theory tonight.
Yes. So last week, as listeners of the show know, I had psychic medium Sena Dyksman on with me to talk about aliens in general. And the topic, very, very quickly, because we cut it off because we were going to do it this week, crop circles came up. And apparently Sena knows the answers to what crop circles are and who makes them and why. Cool. And so Dave and I had invited her back for the second hour to test that, to see what answers we can get out of our friend.
Exactly.
So, and just to warn everybody, because it always happens, I'm sure we'll hit crop circles for about 12 minutes of the second hour, and then we're going to be other places.
We're going to be teleporting all over the universe today, like we do every time.
Be careful, because there is an interchange coming up where we will go north, west, south, and east.
And southwest and northeast.
We will be all over the place.
Yeah.
Sightseeing the entire city of the paranormal here tonight.
Absolutely.
So greatly looking forward to that. Do have a couple of announcements. One is very, very important for people. So with Dave and my schedules, especially mine, because I've started signing up for the 1 a.m. shift at UPS. So 4 hours from the end of this show, live show anyway, I will be at work. So, and just to take all the pressure off us when it comes to football,
right?
and just kind of wanting to give, because I know a lot of people around this time, they're having dinner with their families, or they're on the TV watching football, they're relaxing. So we want to hit the people who, when they wake up in the morning, spend 4 or 5 hours browsing social media. And so starting next week, and obviously moving into the new year, we will be live here. Obviously, this won't affect anything when it comes to downloads in the podcast form of this, because it'll just go out like normal after the show. You'll just get it earlier, I guess. But we will now be 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays, starting next week. And obviously next week, our big Christmas show, which we haven't quite nailed down yet. I really wanted to.
We'll have something good put together.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Dave has thrown out. I'm warming to it a little bit. That maybe we will buy some gifts for our wonderful listeners and give those away on next week's episode. Only problem with that is we haven't determined yet how to set that up.
Right.
I don't know why my laugh just sounded like Woody Woodpecker, but it did. So,
It did kind of, yeah.
Let's move on and forget that it ever happened. So anyway, so next week, 10 a.m. to noon for the new show hours, and we'll post something all over our social media and my team page to let people know how they can. Personally, I think, and maybe we could do it right here and just agree to it. People have to send in their best Christmas stories or memories or best present they ever got and why, that sort of thing.
I like that.
It's something it's going to be about Christmas.
And should we make it, does it have to be about like spreading love and joy and stuff, or can it just be like, I got this Christmas present and it just shattered my life as a child? Are we taking those kind of stories too, or are we just taking the positive ones?
Now, like shit, as in like completely made my life meaningless, like that kind of shattered.
I think for my generation and probably your generation, probably not. But I think some of the younger generations, I think that I've some of the stuff that I've read on social media, that exact term came from a social media post that I read, where the Christmas present that my parents decided to get me just shattered my life this year.
Now, are we talking about it legitimately was so awful?
Legit. Well, I don't know. It's social media, right? So I take everything with a grain of salt.
But I mean,
I take factual things with a grain of salt. So I mean, I take social media with a gallon of salt. But I don't know.
Okay. I will accept those. What word am I looking for? Those submissions. There we go. I will accept those submissions under the disclaimer that if you're being like a spoiled brat, like I didn't get this 700. I didn't get this. I didn't get this PS5 or this new iPhone. They gave me, an Android, S23 or something like that. And I can't even go to school now with it.
Right.
As long as I put out the disclaimer and you understand that you open yourself up for further mockery, because that's ridiculous. But if it's something along the lines of we don't have money for presents this year, and this, which is terrible, obviously, then no, that will not get any mockery from me or Dave.
Or from me, right?
Yes. Keep that in mind. But we prefer positive. We always have.
Yeah.
So let's just say that now. I will buy a few, probably like a spirit box or something like that. Maybe K2. Something, maybe since I haven't had a chance of like giving them away, or not giving them away, but like selling them for a while. Like maybe I could throw in.
It's not a demon shirt. Yeah,
it's not a demon shirt for my teams, whatever size, and obviously free shipping. I will ship those myself. But so we'll have a couple, depending on how many entries we get, and of course, like I said, I'll post those to all our social media.
And for 2025, my promise this year is that I'm going to get better lighting, so I don't constantly look like a ghost on the show, fading in and out.
Maybe that will be my present to you.
I don't know, but these 20-watt bulbs overhead just aren't cutting
it. Nope. No, they're not. You need to be as clear as me.
Yeah. I never have been since day one.
No, you haven't. Which is surprising.
I did buy a new whatchamacallit though.
I have no idea.
let's see, where are we? The new Logitech,
Oh,
the CX20 or 920 HD Pro. So we'll see if that helps.
well, you do look slightly less pasty than Yomo, so
Well, that's good.
you're on the right track.
So before we get started on stories too, I've got something I want to interject here.
Oh, absolutely, have at it.
So I don't know if you've been watching this or not, but there's a really interesting thing that's happening right now out in New Jersey.
No.
And they are getting bombarded by what they're referring to as drones. And it's kind of a big deal. It's gotten to the point now where the FAA has mandated airspace shut down over Trump National and the military site that's a couple miles away from there. And the FBI just recently now is involved in it and investigating where the drones are coming from, because they cannot determine where the drones are being launched from. But the thing that gets me here is that, and there's a ton of video on this online, and personal things, and every major newscast like USA Today and the New York Times. I mean, every single newspaper outlet all over the world is talking about this. Some of these drones are as big as cars. And as far as I know, we don't have drones as big as cars, at least not in the public sector. And if this is some sort of military test thing, once again, why are they not just saying, hey, we're just testing some, we're going to be testing some drones in the area and just put it out there so that people understand what it is? Because now you've got all kinds of stuff. It's already gotten to the point now where they're talking about parts of the population having PTSD from 9/11 still. And now this is sparking the PTSD of the general populace, and that they're concerned for people's well-being and mental health here going into the holidays. And these sightings have been frequent. It's not like it was once and twice and done. It's happening like I don't want to say every day, because I didn't see it was written that it happened every day, but it's happening frequently enough that the FAA, the FBI, and other organizations are getting involved in it, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So it's just something to point out, so that if this turns into something bigger and it's not just some sort of prank done by some local kids, that you heard it first here on the Odyssey Files, after it was already reported all the major news outlets.
That's right. You heard it first here after everybody else.
But I do find it extremely interesting that something like that is happening and that there's no determination for it, because you would think, drones only have so much of a flight time, and you would think that that if it was just a group of people doing it, that they would either they'd be concerned and they would stop once the FBI got involved in the FAA, because there'd be federal charges against them. And so you would think, hey, it was a joke, cool, but we should probably stop now, because I don't want to do 20 years in a federal penitentiary for flying over, the military site accidentally or whatever. But it doesn't seem to be stopping anybody. And the thing that really caught my eye was the size of them. I mean, I've never seen, I don't know of any, I've never heard of a drone that is the size of a car. And I'm sorry, also fixed wing aircraft that have unique lights on them. So I'm almost thinking like, maybe this isn't drones. Maybe this is some sort of aerial phenomenon, something that is, for some reason, there's something there that is drawing this mass surge of some type of probes that are looking for something, because it seems to be pretty concentrated along the river, the Radicki River or something like that. Let's see what the name of that river is. Well, I don't see it handily, but anyway, if you look it up, you can't miss it. Just type in New Jersey drones and it'll give you about 300 hits as to what's going on. So I thought it worth mentioning, just because it's something that's obviously not normal, so in that sense, it's possibly paranormal. So this will be an updated story. We'll continue watching it and see what we see. Maybe we'll get a hold of some of our friends over there on the East Coast and get their opinions on it and see what the hell's going on. Uh-oh.
Oh, there you are.
There you are. Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't know what happened. I all of a sudden got this warning thing that my mic was unplugged. I'm like, I haven't touched it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it automatically muted me, so I had to mute myself or unmute myself anyway. All right, so yeah, as I was saying, what you probably couldn't hear, and I'm assuming you didn't because you just started talking over me.
I didn't hear you.
No, I was going to say because I've seen videos of people making like drones you can actually like step on, and they'll fly you around and stuff like that. So when you said like some of them are big as cars, I mean these things are obviously pretty big because they had to have propellers and stuff.
Right.
You know, like 8 propellers and stuff like that to
Right.
for somebody to ride on. But I mean, some of them looked pretty sweet and worked quite well. So I don't know if this is like seriously when you were talking about this, the first thing that came out goes, "This is a making of a supervillain." Like this is what a supervillain does. Like
Yeah.
he hides in the shadows until he's built his army of drones, and now he's like releasing the hive onto New York City, in this case, New Jersey. But that's exactly what came to mind. I'm like, this is the makings of a supervillain.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Pretty soon, people are going to have their apple pies off their windowsills, like just stolen right out from underneath them.
Well, I think the pug wedgies probably are doing that already out there.
Well, maybe, but still, now they have. Maybe it's the pug wedgies building the drones.
Wouldn't that be interesting, right? Puck wedgies, what are you doing? Oh, we're just getting testing our new flight pad.
We're upgrading, dear sir.
Yeah. We're building we're building these drones that can carry 4 of us at a time because it's just much more economical to travel in groups. So instead of these single transports we've been using for decades. Yeah, we're off on a tangent here. Let's get to stories.
Okay. With that said, and it's been so long, I forgot how to do it for a second there. Here we are. The Odyssey Files is proud to present the Mailbag. And we are here. It's been a number of weeks since we've done the Mailbag. So
it has been.
We're behind. So here we go. Getting caught up. So number 1, does being cold or getting goosebumps have anything to do with ghosts? And here's what they write. I just felt like Casey Kasem there for a second. And he
kind of sounded like him.
Yeah, and he writes. My brother died a few years back. I don't really believe in ghosts or spirits, but I was missing him, so I decided to quote unquote talk to him. I just talked out loud for a while and asked if he was there, if he could hear me. The whole time I was talking to him, I was freezing cold and had goosebumps, even after turning off my air conditioner and getting under a ton of blankets, because which isn't normal because I get hot really easily. I didn't think anything of this until I ended my conversation and told him I was done talking, and I told him to go away. Then the goosebumps went away almost immediately, and I'm not cold anymore. I might just be paranoid, but I'm wondering if this means anything. So first, just let me say bravo to the whole, I want to talk to my brother because I miss him. And then, okay, I'm done. Go away.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Way to show your love.
Yeah. Way to show the love. So I can't really comment much on your specific encounter, because obviously it all depends on the environmental factors that go along with it. However, in general, yes. So when spirits try to manifest or do something, or when they try to interact with our world, they draw energy in from the air. And when they do that, the heat goes away because that's the energy that they're using, and that's why you get the cold spots. goosebumps or that static little electricity can be caused by many different factors, one of which, yes, is the presence of a spirit or ghost. Because you were trying to communicate with your brother, and because of the fact that it suddenly came on, and then when you asked it to go away, it went away. I'm narrowing it down to two things. One, because one of the creations of the static charge or whatever is your own mind. Like if you have these creepy thoughts in your head or something like that, you can give yourself goosebumps. Mm-hmm. You can give yourself that static charge. I do it all the time. And if you're not in a situation like Dave and I are, quite frequently, where we can tell the difference between whether it's our own thoughts or something from the outside source, you will probably take it as an outside source. And because you were like, okay, you can go away now, and then it went away, you might have done that to yourself. Might have. The second is that your brother was there. He could have been trying to communicate with you, do something to let you know that he was there. Maybe he was successful and you missed it. Other times, maybe not. One of the things that I still don't know, and I don't think anybody does, is how hard or easy it is for the other side to interact with ours. And from what I've gathered, even during like spirit box sessions where I've asked that question directly, it is not as easy as we think for them to do so. So he could have been trying, and that's what made the cold spot. He could have been sitting there on the couch next to you or standing next to you or whatever, and that's you felt, his energy there, which created the goosebumps. And then once you, depending on your conversation, maybe he heard all that he needed to hear, and when you said, "Okay, we're done, you can go away now," he was like, "Well, okay, I guess I can," and he left. So keep that in mind. It could go either way, but I would like to believe that since it came on during your conversation and left when you were done, that it was your brother trying to alert you to his presence, and then got, I think, what he was looking for in hearing that you would be okay, and he was free to leave.
I'm good. I don't have anything to add to that. I would agree with you in the fact that I think it was his brother. I like the fact that the guy who wrote this, tried to debunk it, saying, "Hey, I normally don't lay under blankets because I get hot really easy, and I turned off my AC to make sure that wasn't what was causing it." I mean, you miss your brother. There's a love bond going on there. You asked him to come in and listen to you, and I think that's exactly what he did. I don't know that he tried to communicate with you because you didn't say anything happened except for the goosebumps. So I think he just showed up and was listening to you, is what the feeling I get. And then when you were like, "Okay, go away," I don't think you have the power to tell him to go away. I just think because he's your brother, he was just like, "Okay, I don't want to freak him out today. I just was listening to, he asked me to listen and talk. He was talking, so I came and sat with him for a little bit." That's kind of the feeling I get. Nothing bad, obviously, just brotherly love coming in to see how he's doing. So, ghost or something else trying to tell me something. So this has happened twice now. First time was about 2 months ago. I was alone in my room and I felt someone's hand on my waist. I looked back and nothing was there. Was pretty spooked out at that time. Similar thing happened yesterday. I was on my bed and laying under a thick blanket. Had just finished meditating when I felt the spot in the blanket get heavy around my waist, as though someone was pressing down on it. I've never seen a ghost, in the quotes, in my room, except for when I'm sleeping. Any idea what this could be? One thing I can be sure of is that I am not imagining these touches. They are there and they are very real. Okay, so I think the key word for me here is that you've never seen a ghost except for when you're sleeping. That's kind of what I keyed into on this one. So, the easiest way, or at least that's what we think, the easiest way for a spirit or a loved one or just somebody who's interested in you because of your energy, for them to access into, like, kind of cross the bridge and access your space or your energy, is to do it while you're sleeping. I think that's the easiest way for a spirit to come visit us, to communicate messages, uh, just to come and see, what we are. The fact that you, and I don't say this isn't, and this is not a generality, but in this situation, the fact that you're meditating, and that I'm assuming this isn't like a one-off thing for you. You're already kind of open to clearing your mind, thinking freely and openly, letting the universe and letting everything around you kind of evolve with you and into you, and becoming kind of part of one, and that kind of harmonious one that everybody would love to get to. And so I think that since you're open, that somebody might be interested in you. I don't doubt that you felt the hand on your waist, and I don't doubt that you felt the blankets get heavy around your waist. I wonder what it is about your waist that is the target area, So it could be something there. If you've ever had an injury there, or I don't know, for some reason, like, it's screaming at me, right? Like a miscarriage, or something like that. It could just be a loved one coming up and just putting their arm around your waist, letting you know that it's okay, type of thing. But I don't think there's anything here to be frightened of. I do think it probably is some sort of spirit contact, especially because you've been wide awake and alert both times that it happened, and you're having visitation dreams. And now I think that maybe it's taken the next step in manifesting into more of a entering onto our realm, being able to physically touch you. It hasn't hurt you. I doubt it will. I don't see any reason why it would, from this story anyway. So I don't think there's anything to be scared of. I would think it's probably more of a nurturing type of thing.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything that you said. I mean, the only reason that gives me pause with this is the author of this doesn't say whether they're male or female. I guess I just kind of got the impression that it was female.
Yeah, I did too.
And so, I mean, when you said, and I was like, nope, that's probably not it. But then, you mentioned like miscarriage. In my head, I was thinking pregnancy. Something that might symbolize that it's going to happen. Maybe in the future, or that it's coming up. Maybe it's already happened and you don't know about it yet.
Right.
That sort of thing. Again, don't know what the author's life is. So who knows if that's correct or not. But usually when somebody puts like their hand on your waist, like living, it's to move you in a certain direction, move you out of the way or turn you, that sort of thing. Even though the second time, I'm just going to say she. I
think it is a she.
We both think it's a she. We just don't know for sure.
That's the impression I got for some reason. I didn't even think to look at whether it was a male or female. When I read it, my mind immediately went to female. So
yeah. But now I lost where I was going with that. Crap. But I got what I wanted to. So basically, she was like sitting or laying down on a bed under a blanket. So it's hard to move somebody unless you like want them to move over. Like you push the waist a little bit, like, hey, I'm here, move over.
Yeah.
And honestly, if that's the case, I mean, and you're gonna hate this, and that's exactly the reason why I'm gonna say it. Maybe it's her from the future trying to move herself over, because
it's starting already. Half hour into the show.
That's what I said. You're gonna hate it.
Wow.
But anyway, I don't think that's actually the case. But you never know. Weirder things have been said.
True.
So, but yeah, I 100% agree with you. I don't think she's in any danger. I would keep an eye out, or keep remembering all of these times, like what you're doing, where you are, how does it feel, the pressure, and also what's going on in your life at that time. Because it simply could be your spirit guides reaching out and be like, hey, maybe you should move a little to the right or move a little to the left right now, and in your path. But yeah, other than that, it's hard to tell what exactly it means.
Agreed.
Oh, look, it's my present from Dave.
What?
The next story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, I wasn't going to steal that one from you.
Do cats protect people from ghosts? Oh, you silly, ignorant people. All right, here we go. I'm nearly 40 years old and have had many experiences with ghosts. They used to make me feel extremely uncomfortable and at times paralyzed with fear. I really didn't like it. The F would. I was chatting with my husband the other day and said that I wonder why the haunting stopped about 5 years ago. It then clicked the next day. I'd gotten a few rescue cats around the same time. They're still with us. Happy and healthy old cats, and I've not had any type of experience since getting them. So my question is, do cats really protect people from ghosts? It seems like mine have. So please do not take protection of you to protection of their investment. So cats hate competition when it comes for messing with the humans, with us. And so I'm sure whatever was messing with you before, once you got the cats, they staked their claim and are now protecting themselves and their investment of you from the spirits who are messing with you. I know a lot of people will say that cats were the guardians of the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think, and I've said it before, I think that that's incorrect. I think they're the ushers, that they push people into the underworld and show them their seat.
Into the river of flame.
That's right. So you know all those all those videos of cats who are knocking water bottles off the thing while they're just looking at you.
Yep.
Yeah, practice for when you're on the river Styx and they just smack you into the river. So, do I think your cats are protecting you? Probably not. and I know that my whole entire first answer is just a joke, and it's just me trying to be funny. I don't necessarily know if cats will actually protect you, or dogs for that matter. I know that they sense spirits, definitely, and they may make you aware of them, and maybe that's why it stopped. Maybe once you got animals there, its stealthiness was now gone and it went someplace else. I don't know why it suddenly stopped.
Allergies. Right? A lot of people have allergic to cat dander. I mean, so maybe the spirit was allergic to cat dander.
Could be. Maybe the cat threatened to eat their soul if they came back. I could see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm just going to let you take it. I think I've said my piece.
All right. So I'm going to pretty much definitively say that you weren't having any experiences with ghosts. I think that maybe you thought you were having experiences with ghosts. I think that maybe there was an empty space in your life. Maybe you never were able to have kids, type of thing. And so now you've got a couple of cats, or you chose not to have kids, and now you got a couple of cats, and they filled this void in your life. And by filling this void in your life, and it could have been a fish, it could have been a bird, it could have been a dog, a cat, whatever, it doesn't matter. But by filling that void that you had in your life, I think that you are more complete now. And as being more complete, you're less likely to, you're more grounded and calm, and you're less likely to jump to the conclusion that everything that you hear, every noise, every peep, every unexplainable experience is a ghost. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you're 40 years old and you've had many experiences with ghosts, now the term many experiences to me would be something I would say. So I've had many experiences with ghosts that would be in the hundreds and maybe even into the thousands over my lifetime. So for you to say that at 40 years old, I'm putting it into my context. Now for this person, many experiences might be three, more than one, and two is a couple and three is many. So, I don't know, but I would say that you were never having any experience with ghosts. I think this is just overreaction to normal circumstances happening in your life. And I just think that, like anything, like when I got my first dog, it just, there's just something that makes your life more complete. And now you have something else to focus on, because now you've got a couple of cats and you focus on them because, number one, they're going to claw your eyes out if you don't feed them at 5:30 in the morning. And then, you have to change their litter box every other day. And, and then every once in a while they'll come over for a rub and then they'll take off and forget you exist. Dogs don't do that, but, they both fill a void. And I think that's what happened here. So my answer, no, ghosts, cats don't protect people from ghosts. Animals fill a void in our lives that make us better human beings.
Personally, I think ghosts protect humans from cats.
That could happen. Or I could be right with the whole dander thing.
Well, that would go on the whole thing of, do ghosts keep allergies that they have in real life?
Right. Well, that's a question for Sena. So Sena, if you're listening, do ghosts take allergies into the next life? There's our first northwest angle off of our crop circle.
We're not even gonna make it to the highway.
We're gonna be on the back roads, baby. Gravel back roads. All right. For those who have seen a ghost, what did they look like? Hi guys, I've personally never seen a ghost, but some of my family members supposedly have seen them. I'm curious to know how they appear to individuals. Do they look injured, like in the movie 13 Ghosts? Are they pale white or transparent? Do they look like normal people? Or are they a shape that doesn't look humanoid? Thanks. I'm going to tell you that most of the questions that you're asking here are because you watch too many movies about ghosts. Spirits look just like they did when they passed away. I would imagine if they wanted to, they could show themselves to you in their death state. So if somebody was in a bad car accident and their head went through the windshield and their face was destroyed, they could show themselves like that to you. They probably wouldn't. They're probably going to go back to a time when they looked their best, unless they hate you, and then maybe they'll show themselves to you after the car accident. I don't know. But I'm going to say that for the most part, every spirit that I've ever seen, or partial apparition or full apparition, looks just like a human being, and it's transparent. Now, transparency is really the issue there, because I've seen spirits that are transparent to the point where you could just see something kind of gray, like a grayish black, maybe 10-20% mist with no definition, clearly walk by you or walk across a room, and people are watching it happen. Happened at the jail in West Virginia, or at the prison in West Virginia, in the lunchroom. All of us watched somebody walk from one side of the kitchen to the other side of the kitchen, stop at a window, and then was just gone. I don't know where they went. They went somewhere, but we didn't see them after that. And then I've seen spirits that are transparent to the point where I thought it was a real person standing there. So I don't have the answer as to how that happens. I don't understand what the differences is. I don't, maybe that's another question for Sena. I don't know how they can show themselves so clearly at times and so distant at times. I'm not sure, but they look like normal people. Other than that, no, they don't look like the 13 Ghosts. They're not pale white. It isn't a sheet over somebody. And they don't, I've never seen a spirit that was a human spirit that didn't look humanoid. I've seen things that don't look humanoid that wasn't a human spirit, but I've never seen a human spirit that doesn't look humanoid. It's all yours, brother.
To all of your questions that were asked in that story, the answer is yes. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Let me expound upon that.
Oh, I'm good with the yes.
They honestly, they can look like anything that they want to. There are tons of stories out there of people who are being terrorized in their homes or in their businesses. They'll climb up the stairs and there'll be a freaking scowling, drooling ass werewolf about to attack them. Those are all human spirits. Anything, because it's just energy. We're all just energy. Keep that in mind. We're all just energy, which means they can look like anything that they want to, or anything they know how to appear as. As Dave said, most of them look like they did when they died, because that's what's most known to them. That's what's most comfortable for them. That's the most comfortable for the people who they're trying to appear to. And but we have, let's use the Leduc Mansion, for instance, which is here in the Twin Cities, one of my favorite places to go and investigate. I have caught the daughter Alice on EVP. Scott, one of my investigators, has had a personal physical encounter with her. And I don't say that as if it was something bad, or what it wasn't. It was a great experience, and he loves telling the story. But it was an encounter. Like I said, got tons of EVPs of her, of a little girl, same voice every time. But Alice died from what I believe, she was in her 90s when she passed away. So why is she back in the house as a child? Could it be because that was the happiest time of her life? Could it be a fragment of her soul that was still there? The main Alice went on, but maybe her childhood part of her soul remains in the house. Either way, she can appear as if, whatever she wants. And sometimes, usually, like maybe if they're in their death state and they don't exactly know what's going on, they will appear as if they were, as if they died, like if they were injured. If they were shot in the head, unfortunately, sometimes people see them walking through the house and they have a big old hole in their head.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, but it does happen. Typically you hear people talk about like shadow figures and stuff that just look like a big old blob. Poltergeists will often look like that mostly because they don't know what a shape is. So they'll just be a big black blob. Non-fully manifested spirits may sometimes look like that, especially if they're, one of those like black on black type things. I have seen full-bodied apparitions that I thought were real people, until they were suddenly not there. So yeah, and I've seen a pair of legs walk by me without a body, and
at the basement in the hotel.
Yes, exactly. It all depends on how much energy they have and what they're trying to do.
I think it makes a difference too, thinking of that now that you're talking, going in this direction. I think it makes a difference too as to whether it's a residual type of energy that's there that doesn't have the ability. It's never going to manifest. Like that pair of legs might just be something residual down there that just, you're always going to see it as a pair of legs, versus something intelligent that's coming back, trying to make contact with a loved one, or trying to make contact with somebody who they like their energy, or that, like we've talked about many times, spirits feel lost and they look and they see a white light and they gravitate towards that white light, and that white light is somebody on this side who has abilities. And so they reach out to that person, can you help me type of thing. But in that type of situation, they're not going to show themselves in like some traumatic death state. I don't think. I think they would show themselves as how they want to be seen, like at a good time in their life, because they're asking for help, not trying to scare you.
Exactly. So yeah, the answer to all those questions is yes. So there you go. Hope that narrowed it down for you. So, all right. Saw a blue spirit. For starters, I'm a 19-year-old female. One night, I woke up from a sound sleep and saw a blue outlined man in the corner of my room. There's the corner again.
Yep.
He was leaning against the wall, just watching me. Might I add, he was tall and well built. When I saw him, I felt calm, warm, and safe. I smiled at him, rolled over, and went back to sleep, because who wouldn't? It's been almost 1 year now, and I never saw him again. I wish to see him again and feel the same peace I felt that day. Any idea what he was, and how can I feel this presence again? You are going down a slippery slope, my dear. Let's skip the whole I want to feel that again type thing, because you're just asking for trouble.
That's why I picked this one. We haven't had a good one like this in a while. So
so this is like the lead up to where I'm going to like get a Ouija board to see if I can contact him.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Don't. He showed himself to you for a specific reason. What he was, I don't know. Could have been your guardian angel. Could have been one of your spirit guides. Could have been one of your, I'm going to say ancestors, but one of your deceased family loved ones. But I honestly, as hard as that is, and I completely understand why you want, why you would want to feel that again. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not, especially in this day and age, there is not a lot of times when people can wake up and feel a sense of peace. Yeah. It's always stress and frustration and where do I go now? And, schedules. And so to be able to wake up and feel a sense of peace is an aphrodisiac almost. Just something you just have to feel again. And I get that, but don't go searching for it. Because what you may find is going to be the complete opposite. So just take it for the experience, the amazing experience that it was. And I have a feeling, and I don't know what was going on in your life at the time. You did say you woke up from a sound sleep, so maybe nothing too traumatic was going on, although you were 19. So I'm assuming something traumatic was going on. But just know that he is probably there and he is watching out for you. And if for whatever reason you need another dose of that, like you need one, not that you want one, need one, I have no doubt that he will probably show up again.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, that's my answer to that one.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you on that one. The only thing that throws me there is a blue spirit. That's a Sena question as well. Like, what's the blue aura?
We're never gonna hit the highway.
But yeah, I will say, I have seen, like, when I was younger, when I was a little kid, I was sick quite a bit, and I had really bad bronchitis, and like I would have these really bad fevers and whatnot. And I remember one night I was just miserable, and I looked, I couldn't fall asleep, and I all of a sudden felt like a big warm hug, and I looked, and there was a lady sitting at the foot of my bed, was a dresser, like a long dresser, and she was sitting on my dresser. And she was like from the 40s or maybe even early 50s, but I would say probably 40s. And she had like a candy striper outfit on, and she had her hair was done really nice and, very beautiful, and makeup, red lipstick. And she had her nurse outfit on, and she had like a clipboard, and she was just taking notes and wasn't really paying attention to me. And I looked at her, and after staring at her for a couple seconds, then she looked up and looked at me, and she smiled. And I was like, okay. That's pretty cool, and everything in my room felt great. And I fell back asleep. And the next morning I woke up and I wasn't sick. Guardian angel, I don't know, protector, something, especially with the shit I grew up in. So that was one of the good stories I can share from my childhood experiences with a supernatural type of presence. All right, so green light filled in my living room. I love this. Hi guys, my husband and I recently bought a house in 1904. The other day I was sitting at my dining room table and I was chatting with my husband, who was sitting on the couch in the living room across from me. All the windows were covered by blackout curtains and it was about 8 o'clock at night. I turned my head to look at my plants when all of a sudden a bright green teal light literally scanned my room from left to right in like 2 seconds. It was so bright it hurt my eyes for a bit afterwards, and I could feel low vibrations from it, kind of like what you used to feel when an older TV set gets turned on. And if nobody knows what that feels like, people my generation knows what that feels like. There's a definite energy hum when a TV turns on, an old console TV. For context, there are no overhead lights that blew out or anything like that. My husband was looking at me at the time and said the light looked like it was scanning me and then disappeared. The most alarming part was there weren't any windows that the light could have come from. It definitely felt like an energy was there 1 second and gone the next. At the time, we had just stopped teasing our son about Krampus. My mother-in-law used to yell at us for teasing him about it. She passed away a few years ago, and we joked that she came down to scold us. Since that happened, we have heard footsteps on the stairs and lights on the stairwell turn off and on throughout the night. I want to say it's nothing, but this happened right in front of our faces when we were both wide awake. Any thoughts would be appreciated. So I've got two different avenues of thought here. So I'm going to give you my first one, and probably the most logical one is because she said that they've been teasing their son about Krampus. And first of all, shame on you. But secondly, that getting away from the parental mentality there. So my mother-in-law used to yell at us for teasing about him, right? So I will tell you, I can't tell you how many times I have been in a situation where I saw the funkiest green flash of light, and I've tried to describe it, and Mike knows what I'm talking about. It happened at the cemetery. It happened in the basement at the restaurant. I see this flash of light, and it's this funky, almost like an old flash bulb would be, like back in the day when you had to actually put the flash bulb in like the big reflector plate to shoot it forward. Except it's this greenish, almost like Monster Energy green, but it's not. So a bright green teal kind of would be how I would describe it too. But it never scans the room. It literally just comes in and then it's just there, and then there's a presence there. And that's happened every time. There's been a spirit right there. It's almost like when they come through and they're coming back into our realm, that there's some sort of energy transference, and that's what that green light is, and that's what it looks like, and that's what I see anyway. So I don't know that it was a scan, so I'm not going to go there yet. So I think that this green light could have been the presence of your mother-in-law coming back into the house. And that could have been her energy kind of moving from wherever she was back to where you are. And that energy transference as she's going through the curtain made that greenish blue teal light. And then she was there. And maybe that's her messing with you on the staircase as her way of paying you back and not letting you sleep well by turning the lights on and off and footsteps up and down the staircase. Maybe she's doing that as like her way of punishing you for teasing your son. Okay, her grandson. All right. So that's one side of it. The other thought of it is that it could be UFO related, only because, and the only reason I think this at all is because the husband said it looked like it scanned her from where he was sitting. Now, when I see that green light come in and the spirit appears, it doesn't scan me. It's bright. So it's bright. So in pitch dark, you could see it clearly, and you get that flash bulb in your eyes for a couple seconds afterwards, but it doesn't scan you. And here they both said it scanned left to right for a couple seconds. The only thing that my mind goes to there is some sort of alien presence. So I'll let you have it for the rest of till we get to 8:00.
The rest of the moments.
The rest of the 5 minutes. I spent 5 minutes on it. You can have the next 5.
Great. I don't especially have 5 minutes of stuff.
Well, that's okay, because the next one's good too. Then, so we could just move on to that one if you want.
Hold on, I haven't read it yet. I didn't even know there was another one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's going to take way more than 4 minutes. So, so I honestly was right on the same path as you. Although I don't exactly think that it's the grandmother. What I kind of went to was maybe a former homeowner, that moved out or got put into a home or something, passed away, and that was their spirit coming back, like their choice of where they wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the house, that maybe they spent the whole 30, 40 years in or whatnot. Yep. That maybe that was them coming back. I don't know why I never go alien unless the story literally is like I floated above my bed and out the window.
Yeah, like that Manhattan thing we're going to do next year.
Sure. But that makes sense. With the whole left-right part of it, it's not just a flash, it's a movement.
A literal scan, yeah.
Trying to find if there's somebody in the house that fits into whatever it is they're scanning for. If they're in their little invisibility suits or whatever, and they scan whatever it is that they're using to scan, it's going to look like it comes out of nowhere. So that's like question number 7 for Sena. When we bring her on. Right now we're not even heading in the direction of the highway to get on our main topic. So we're lost. So the first half hour of the next hour is going to be her answering the questions that we came up with during stories, and then the last half will be actual crop circles.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Well, for the last 10 minutes, Sena's been sitting in our backstage area. So
we'll bring her on.
So, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, when Dave decides to take a day off, which is often, you see this wonderful woman joining me as special guest co-host like she did last week. And she's back now to regale us with more answers of the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sena Dyksman.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Sena.
Hey, Dan. Happy late birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time off?
I did. Yeah, I did. I had very nice, relaxing, good meal. It was a nice time.
Good.
So, yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, as you may or may not know, Sena, during the course of our stories, we came across several instances of stuff we need some clarification on.
Okay.
And so naturally, we're going to take this opportunity to, in fact, from now on, starting in the new year, Dave and I are just going to have you in the background like every episode.
Okay. Sounds great.
So yeah, I'll send you the link and you just sit back there. And if we need clarification on something, we'll
pull you right in.
We'll pull you right in and you can answer that, and then we'll put you in the background again.
Sounds great. No problem.
It's not a burden on your life at all.
No.
She's got nothing better to do for 2 hours on Sunday mornings.
No.
Cup of coffee.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the first one that we had, was it the allergies? Was that the first one?
Cats. Yeah, it was the cat story.
So, Dave gave an answer to whether cats, the question was, do cats protect us from ghosts? I, of course, took a no stance.
Because you don't like cats.
I actually don't mind cats. I just love making fun of them. But Dave brought up, like, because the story was that a woman was saying she had had many experiences with ghosts until she got a bunch of rescue cats, and then everything stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave made the remark that maybe the ghosts had cat allergies. So our question is, because I know that people keep their like characteristic type traits.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they, like if you're at a sanatorium or something like that, you'll see a ghost that looks like they're sickly and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do they keep such things like allergies and diseases?
No. Nope. That's all human stuff. No.
Would they know enough to not to know that they don't have that allergy anymore?
Yes. Because it's
Okay.
a reaction. It's a reaction to a human experience. Actually, anytime you have allergies, that's actually something that happened to you. It's a trauma of something that happened to you in this lifetime, whether it was a child or adult, and the fear causes allergies.
So people who go into like anaphylactic shock when they eat nuts,
It's because their mother probably told them, careful, chew that or you're going to choke on it. Literally, that's all it takes. And as a child, people forget, as a child, you're still developing coping skills. So they take things 3 times as hard. So that's traumatic to them.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that answers your question, Dave. What was the next one?
Yeah, I just want to point out that was not my action. That was my sarcastic remark. My actual remark was that the cats filled a void in her life, and that what she thought was paranormal experiences probably was not paranormal experiences at all. And I think that when you get any type of pet, you focus on your focus becomes more love and completes you, and you have more wholeness than what she was running around. Paralyzed in fear was the quote that they did.
Okay, actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to add. So
good.
Cats are very interdimensional. So they will see, if you have pets, they'll follow any kind of a spirit or ghost that's in the home. They'll look at the wall and start following it. So they'll tell you if there's something there. Cats are interdimensional. So they'll see, even with, I think I talked about it, I think on the last show, but one of my clients actually had talked to me about her cat kept staring at the wall, and he was actually seeing. She had a townhome, and I told her, I says, you live in a townhome. I said, that's the connecting wall, isn't it? She goes, yeah. I says, there's a lot of anger over there. They're fighting a lot. She goes, yeah. And I says, well, there's a black hole created there, and she says, and your cat's starting to see it, and it's the flicker is starting to open from the other side because they're causing, because it's negative energy. So the cats will follow a lot of that. The dog will see ghosts, if there's a dog. So that's usually, it's not that it scares them off or makes them feel more calm. And yet, if there actually was paranormal activity, animals do protect, but they also will point it out if there's something there.
It was my contention, Sena, that the cats hate competition.
Oh.
And so they weren't protecting the human, they were protecting themselves and their investment in the human.
Oh, territorial. Oh, I see.
Very territorial. Yes.
Oh, got it.
That made the most sense to me.
You're well, that's why you went with the allergy, Dave. You didn't have anything left.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's all I could reach for was the allergy. All right. So before I get into my question now, I have to ask, the wall in the townhome, if their negativity starts seeping through, is that potentially going to affect the client that has nothing to do with it?
Yes, and that's why I told her how to protect it. I told her what stone she had to put there and the cleansing. So she has sage to use, white leaf or loose leaf sage, and sage that wall, and then also put crystals to more or less grid it so nothing can come in. But also put like the black stones, anything like hematite or
Tourmaline.
Tourmaline especially, you put around there, and that keeps out any negativity.
Gotcha. All right. So we had a story where a young lady woke up from deep sleep and saw a blue outlined man in the corner of her room. He was leaning against the wall just watching me. And then she said, might I add, he was tall and well built, which means to me she saw him pretty clearly. When I saw him, I felt calm, warm, and safe. I smiled at him, rolled over, and went back to sleep. So my question is, I have seen a lot of spirits in my lifetime. I have never seen one that has a blue outline to it. Is that what would you say that kind of signifies, or is there some sort of special thing that a blue outline would be?
Time traveler. Those
I
are
did
time
not.
travelers.
I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, those are time travelers. Time travelers, or they can actually be higher spiritual beings as well coming in.
What? Who's the blue that's associated with one of the archangels? Isn't one of the archangels like their blue is their color?
I do not recall.
No.
No, I see them all as white lights, so
Okay.
I don't have any other colors that go with them.
Well, why would she feel calm and collected and safe from a time traveler showing up?
Because
like, what would be the calming effect of that?
That he wasn't there to, because she's probably an empath, so she can feel energy. So everybody's an empath, everybody's a psychic. So and most people do have clairsentience, which is reading. They can read energy. They read people, and so she read his energy and it was very calming. So.
Okay.
All right. And should we do the scanning? Which
Yeah,
you were there for, Sena. So you were in the backstage. I don't know if you're listening or not, but
did you hear that story about the lady who got scanned in her house?
A little bit. I actually came in at the last part of it.
Okay. So every time that I have seen a spirit manifest in front of me, I have seen a very funky green, to me, it looks like an electrical bolt, and then it almost looks like the Monster Energy drink green, but it's not, but it's in that realm. And so for her to describe it as a green teal light kind of resonated with me, as far as like, that's the entry of a spirit into your space. But she said that she and her husband saw it, and her husband said too that it was a scan that literally went from left to right and lasted a couple of seconds. And to me, that sounds totally different than what I've experienced. So it wouldn't be a spirit that would scan you, right? I mean, a spirit's not going to scan you.
No.
So would that be like an alien type of situation?
It's alien. Yep.
Okay. Mike said he didn't go with UFO. I went with UFO.
Yeah, there's because there has specific, I mean, they have the technology that we're not even close to yet. So they'll come in, and whether it's their type of scanning gun or anything that they use, that's what they use. So everything is vibration. So they use actually a lot of the technology they use is a higher vibration than what we have here on Earth that we use. That's why when they find a spacecraft that has been that crashed, and that's usually because that's actually caused by, if you ever see just a FYI, when they do actually crash, because they are very high sophisticated technology, it only ends up crashing because when we have electric storms, it interferes with their frequencies, and that's the only reason that they do end up crashing. Otherwise, they never would have. But it's always a storm, some kind of a storm that actually interferes with their. So, but when they crash, they'll go out and they look at the wreckage, and they find that their metals that they use is so beyond ours, and that's it. Because they vibrate at a different frequency than we do, and so it's a very high vibration that's completely beyond what we have here.
See, so hold that thought for a second, because I got a question up based off of that. So I thought it interesting too that she said that it hurt her eyes a little bit after, but she said, I could feel low vibrations from it, kind of like what you could feel when an older console TV set gets turned on. Do you remember that feeling? Like when you pull the knob forward, right? Mm-hmm. And while the tube was warming up, you could feel that. right?
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I remember that. I could feel that energy. I
Mhm.
never understood what it was, but I could feel that as that tube was starting to warm up before the picture started. And I find that interesting that she said that. So that almost kind of makes sense that while she described it as low energy, that could just be a low vibration. That could just be a misinterpretation. It could have been a high vibration
Correct.
that happened while the scan was happening, but she felt the energy in the room.
Mhm.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now that brings me back to your thought on vibration levels. So one of the best clips that I've seen on any of the shows on TV was out at the ranch, right? At Skinwalker Ranch. And when the helicopter caught the orb kind of coming in on the flight path and then it disappears, it goes into the mesa on one side and comes out the mesa on the other. And
Mhm.
for some reason, my immediate thought was, well, the vibration level of that craft, we see that as solid rock. That mesa is a solid piece of rock. But for this probe or whatever it was, it could be at a different vibration level where that isn't solid rock to them. And so while we think, well, how could that possibly go through that rock? That's irrelevant because the rock isn't there to them, or it's a material that for them they can traverse through it with no issue whatsoever. Am I
Everything
onto
is
something there?
everything is well. Okay. As humans, we think everything's solid. It is not. Everything vibrates. Everything is
Right.
energy, frequency, vibration. So nothing is solid. And right there, you said you thought that like the rock was solid. It's not solid. They
Right.
know the vibration level at that, and they can go through it because they know the vibration. They can either equal it or vibrate at where they can pass through it and not
Okay.
move any of that
Okay.
that vibration level of that.
That's what I thought.
Hmm.
So there's really nothing that would stop like an alien probe with their technology and the ability other than a bad electrical storm. I mean, they could fly, when you see them fly into the side of a mountain,
Hmm.
like Mount McKinley, right? Where everybody thinks there's a base inside Mount McKinley.
Hmm.
When you see them fly and they just disappear into the mountain, they're literally flying into the mountain.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but they also they also can do mind control. So it's where they will hold time still as well, so people can't see where they go.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very again highly. It's just like the aliens we have here. Seriously, I mean, we're mind controlled all the time. It just you don't realize it. A lot of them doesn't realize that it's Men in Black. You're being mind controlled all the time. So you're only seeing what they want you to see
So saying that we don't have free will?
to a certain extent.
Don't worry, Dave. Sena and I destroyed free will like a couple weeks ago. Because apparently the universe can just change whatever it wants and make you do anything it wants you to do. So apparently free will is a myth.
To a certain extent, you have free will. You come here for lessons, but you have things that you're supposed to be learning. But this is also a big science project. So when they get tired of the science project, they can do whatever they want.
So it's just a big ant farm.
Pretty much. And
that doesn't drop my self-esteem or like my joy of being alive at all.
I'm telling you, Dave, you got to listen to some of the shows that Sena and I have done.
No.
Your entire outlook on life will be one disastrous turn after another.
No, I don't want that.
I'm still waiting for the hate mail.
Thank you,
though. Did we have any other questions after that?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the UFO, whether it was a UFO or whether it was the grandma's energy kind of coming back, and then the blue spirit, and then cats are protectors. I think that was it, right?
Sure. I'm sure there was another one, but that's all right. All righty. Let me stretch here.
Were we going to talk about, did you have a question about the lady that got touched on the waist? I didn't, but did you say something? No? Okay.
I thought about it the whole oh no, the thing about that was when I
if you thought it was her coming back from the future.
yes. that I said simply to annoy you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it did. So success.
Mission accomplished.
Mission
All right. So obviously, Sena, the topic that we brought on, the main topic, which we have already warned our listeners that will probably only hit maybe 12 minutes, and then we'll be off on other tangents,
Okay.
as always happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just going to start with the most generic and pointed question out there, which will get the ball rolling. So answer to the best of your ability. What are crop circles?
Those are from their frequencies from aliens, from either the starships or they're sending messages. A lot of it can be them giving us messages to help us through things instead of continually. We've had the reset button so many times to restart, and they're trying to help us as they give us little clues. But those are made from high frequency, generated from their spacecraft, because it's a mind control that they mind control their spaceships, and so it can be the frequency that their spaceship is running at, or it can be what they're beaming down as a message to give the humans to help them. It's actually geometrical, mathematical, circumference of designs that they're talking to us, because that's the only way they talk is in geometrical and mathematical symbols. But it's hard for them to mind link with us. It's just we're such a lower vibration. It's really hard for them to mind link with us to talk.
Dave, do you have anywhere you want to go with that, or?
Yeah. So if what they're trying, and I totally get it with the whole, just because of the preciseness of crop circles, and the designs and how some of them are so intricate, and just so precise. So why are we having such a hard time with understanding what those geological kind of symbols represent? Like, why aren't we able to interpret them and somehow do our own crop circle as an answer, let's say, right? Let's do a visual response.
They are now. That's how they're understanding. They're understanding now that they are actually geometrical forms that are when you use a mathematical equation, one of them actually showed that it actually is pi. And so it's symbols actually signifying, and that's how they talk then. And so it's learning their mathematical, that all these equations, when you start putting it into mathematical terms, then you start learning, you have to learn their code. Once you learn that code, then you can learn how they're talking to us.
And what do you think those transmissions of talking to us are?
Again,
like
those
introductions,
are messages.
knowledge that we're supposed to have? I mean, what would they be?
Yeah, just trying to help us not continue to make the same mistakes again, trying to help us out, giving us little nudges on, this is just a lot of, we have a lot of questions, but it's more of trying to help in a good way, not a bad way to where we blow ourselves up because they're giving us too much information. Just kind of give us a little here and there and giving us nudges on, here's some more information, and then we have to decode it and then apply it.
Okay. I gotta figure out how to phrase this properly. So 99% of the entire Earth is either not going to know that they exist, other than social media and newspapers and stuff like that. And so they won't know that they exist, or two, won't even know that they're anything other than landscape art. I mean, that's pretty much what they're called now. So these geometric forms, these mathematical equations, they've got to be meant for somebody specific. Like, I would think that any extraterrestrial that is doing this is going to know that most people aren't going to understand it. And so who are they like specifically meant for? And why, I guess, why are they put where they are? I mean, I know they have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
They don't want them hidden, for one. I'm gonna answer your last question first. They put them in obvious like crops because they want you to they want to be noticed. They want you to see them. If they put them in a forest, you're not going to be able to ever see them. And so they need to put them on an open field where they're seen. But they're also then it's never a secret when these show up. It's televised. It's not like somebody's going to keep it to themselves. Oh no, they literally put it out there like, hey, we just got another crop circle here. They're all over the world, and they're very well known, every one of them. And what happens with them, it's not just like, okay, so when they're crop circled, it's not that they stay there permanently. It's actually very interesting. They all have
time limits.
No, they just, where they grow up is actually better. It's actually more flourished. It's the nutrients in there is actually better, and it grows better where that crop circle ended up being. Just where the impression of that design is, they show you at time and time again that actually it grows better right where that part is, right where that they have all of those objects that they have designed through communication. That literally it's more greener, luscious, and they've actually taken and they've actually pulled some specimens and pieces of that and taken them out and put it in other fields or they do them in the lab normally, but it literally helps everything grow. That's added to. It's phenomenal of how much nutrients are in that. It's just everything grows better in those areas. But it does grow up. It's not like it's permanently set down, because all it is it's laid down. It's never broken. It's always
folded over. Yeah.
Yep. It's always folded over. So they never break it. But then it's always really good. Once it grows up much better. It's always luscious and green and very, it's got a really good, I mean, it's like it's been
fertilized.
I don't want to use a negative term, because that's when you use fertilizer, you're putting an additive that shouldn't be on it. It's just they just have it that's very flourishing and healthy.
So then, what about the instances where people have seen like a UFO touch down, and like where it made contact with the Earth, nothing has ever grown back in those spots? What would be the difference between a crop circle trying to teach us something versus a craft landing, like after an animal mutilation, let's say, and the craft lands in the field, and then they go out there and like 5 years later, where the kind of the dimensions of the pads, like the landing pads are, nothing still grows. Why is that?
Because the craft itself, when it does land, that's at a different frequency where it can be damaging. When they're leaving impressions like that, they're not landing. They're actually like using almost like a laser, but they're
like it hovers above, kind of, right?
Right. They're just projecting down onto that. So they're never landing in the crop. They're projecting down.
Okay.
And so that's why, because that again, their frequencies are so high. And so when they're doing mind control, that spaceship that they're using is vibrating at that frequency. Our land can't take that. The human world never vibrates at that level. And so that's why it burns, and nothing else can ever come back from that.
Is there any way, like if you took a sample out of there, is there any way that you could find like a path to understanding their frequency by taking like a sample of the Earth from that, like a spot like that where they've touched the Earth physically?
Only if they had machines that could measure that high of a frequency, understanding it.
Okay. And we don't have that technology yet.
They're not going to tell us that they do. NASA, they've done it. The government has pretty much everything. They're just not going to tell us.
Okay.
Well,
so as far as we know, they don't have it yet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they won't give it to the humans. Any person that's not in NASA or not in the government, they're not going to tell you. It's all in the books. But yeah, that's why they have the spacecrafts, and they've done, they've taken the aliens that have died here and they dissected them, And some of them live, they live among us, and they use them in the government as well. There's some of them that have survived, and they talk with them, and they come back and communicate all the time. So they do give us information. That's just other ones they try to give us messages as well that way, using them in more of a code form to help us.
All right. So on this same path of thought, when an animal mutilation happens, and I am of the thought that, especially because when you come in there and you take a look at it and it happened in a snowy field, there's not a drop of blood, there's no footprints, there's no predator tracks, there's no car tracks, and there's this 2,000-pound bull missing a surgically removed an eye, his testicles and his privates, part of his ear, the side of his face, right? Like these laser cuts, and they remove something. That's not my question. That's just painting the picture. My question is, why do those animals never ever get touched by scavengers? Because every one that I've seen that I think is a legitimate, like, cattle mutilation type of thing, that animal never gets, like, nothing comes and feeds on it. And when in areas like that where there's packs of coyotes and wolves and other little scavengers, that thing would be eaten. That would be a gourmet feast on a normal day, for a lot of animals.
Because there's radiation on it. They don't tell you there's radiation all over it. Anytime a nailing gets used, usually radiation near it. And those crop circles all have radiation readings around them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so an animal will not touch that.
So they can sense the fact that something weird is going on with that bull.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. What you got, Mike?
I was just going to say that you didn't really answer the question as to who exactly are these circles put there for.
For the humans to give them, like I said, give them more of a kick in the butt, to try to give them some information that's needed to help them to survive this lifetime.
Right. No, I get that. But like I said, like 99.9% of the world isn't going to know that. So, I mean, it's got to be meant for somebody specific that has the abilities and the knowledge in their head already that is going to be able to decipher them. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of time. And they have to know that. Okay.
So we do have scientists that have deciphered them. But being that
right.
Okay, and so they have come out, and this is how they actually have explained that these are geographically formed and mathematically, like, circular, and then they have an angle. There's a reason that their angle, like, there's goes a circle, and then it has a cutoff all of a sudden and goes into another, because that is actually a code, and they're able to decipher that. But the reason it's specific people that can project, a geometric design, but mathematically lay it out and then read that code. But they put those crops there in human view, and they put them all over to bring everybody's attention to it. So whoever deciphers that will tell those people. And it's like, you need to be telling these people this information. Don't keep it a secret. We have put this out there for people to know. And so when they bring that to those, and you can go on YouTube. This is actually, I'll just tell you that right now. A lot of this is on YouTube, that they've deciphered it and how they've deciphered them. It's not that they're keeping it a secret. It's not for certain people. Yes, that they're ones that are very good at mathematical designs and geometrics will be able to read this, but they also don't keep it to themselves. They do explain it. So it's for the people, but it's for, of course, people that, to decipher it, it has to have somebody that's got a mathematical and geometrical mind that understands this. But they do tell the people. It's not keeping it just to those people, not just for those people. They put these signs and these messages for everybody to see. There's a reason it's out there all over the world, in plain view.
So why can't they dummy down the message so that the mass populace would have at least some baby steps to understanding what it means? Because I get what you're saying, but I've done a ton of research on crop circles, and the only publicity that makes it to the general airwaves, whether it be a television network or whether it be a major newspaper, the only things that I have seen are the fact that they're hoaxes, that they're downplaying it, and that they're trying to say that they've got two yokels out of some English pub that were drunk that said, yeah, well, Willie and I went out there last night with a couple of boards, and we were just messing around and we made this, this thing. Bullshit. They did not go out there and make that. So
No, they can't. They are
why,
so. Mhm.
I'm just saying, so why, like, I don't remember, I've been around on the planet for a while. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing like a television program like on the 5 o'clock news say, there's a new crop circle in Australia, and after interpretation, this is what it means. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you follow me? Why are we not having disclosure of something like that if the intention is for the aliens to pass knowledge to all of us?
Okay, how much control does the government have?
Well, I would say better than 90%.
Rest my case.
Okay. So you have to go to independent channels like YouTube then and dig around to
Correct.
find what you're looking for.
Correct.
Okay.
So then how do you tell the difference between hoaxes and real? Because you, as Dave said about those two guys who, decided to go out and create these things, they've been given credit for like 200 different instances of crop circles. Or, they would travel around and they would do all these. They even brought them out and they showed the world that this is how they do it. So, and when that came out, then you had copycats, other people who thought that it would be fun in order to do that. And it's the same in the paranormal, like in the supernatural thing of YouTube, that's filled with all kinds of hoaxes and misidentifications and people just looking for their 15 minutes of fame or to get a TV show themselves or whatever. And Dave and I have talked about this before. From that aspect of things, is how do you tell the difference between hoaxes and the real?
You can't bend a crop in the exact position every time by just walking with a board. You also will leave a footprint somewhere. There's no footprints left. When it rains, there is no footprint. When it rains, you'll leave a footprint. You will see it. You can't get away from the rain. The rain shows everything. And so once it rains or the moisture there, it shows a footprint. Because when they're doing a board, there's 1 foot on the board, there's 1 foot on the ground, and they're walking it. There's never a footprint shown. Also, there's radiation around there. Whether they do carry a radiation and expose themselves, they're going to get sick. And then there's
you also have a path in too. Like what people don't understand, right? When you grow crops, especially like wheat, that they're planted so tight. It's not like walking in between a corn row, where you can do that as a human. Like a wheat field or any type of grain field, that stuff grows like what, a quarter of an inch apart or something, maybe. Like you can't walk into one of those fields as a human and not leave some sort of sign that a human walked in there.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing is with, with the cattle mutilations, the rancher discovers, the bull in the field. There's snow. There was fresh snow. The bull was fine yesterday. Today it's laying there in the state I described earlier. No tire tracks, no foot tracks, no predator tracks, no blood.
Right.
How the hell do you drain 40 liters of blood out of a 2,600-pound bull and not leave a drop? Well, that's because obviously the bull was not dissected at that location. It was just dropped there afterwards. So That's my theory anyway.
Yep, true. But I mean, to err is human. They're going to show, it's going to show something. They can't have it. It can't be perfect. There's no way that you can walk and have a perfect, with no breaking anything, and it just literally bending in the what they call the elbow of all those crops. You can't, and that's exactly how they are. They are formed by just, and the elbow of them. It even shows that it actually increased after the crop circle. That elbow of those stalks actually increased, and it healed itself and grew back even better. So if it was actually done by a human, it's not going to make it better. It's going to actually kill it. You're going to damage the plant.
Right.
Okay. So here's the next place I'm going to go. So the very first crop circle was written in a story called The Mowing Devil in 1678.
Yeah.
Was the first story of a crop circle formation. And then we really didn't hear much throughout like the next 200 years. And then for some reason in like the 1970s and the 1980s, they exploded, most of which in England. So, I mean, and since then it's gotten, it's expanded. As you said, they're all over the world. They're in Australia. They're here in the United States. In fact, I've read a story from July of this year that one had formed in, I think, Nebraska or something like that. So my question is, are these like, I guess I'm answering my own question in my head, so give me a second here. So, I mean, you and I have talked before and argued, naturally, about the time difference. There's certain times in which they'll give us this information. And so is that what we're seeing? Like it was like an experiment back in the 1600s, or maybe that was just a story and had no basis in reality whatsoever. And then in like 1970, maybe some people had the knowledge to decipher certain ones, or was another attempt to try to get this information across and failed. And then we had another one, like they expanded their stuff from England to around the world to see what they could get. Like, are these just experiments to see if we can comprehend what they're trying to say?
No, they're messages.
Well, I understand that they're messages, but like I said before, almost nobody can decipher them. Nobody even knows to try. So, I mean, sending a message in 1970 that nobody in the entire world has the ability to decipher is kind of a waste of time. And I would think that they would know that. So I'm just curious.
But there were people at those times, they just didn't know what they were looking for. You have Nikola Tesla, who is highly intelligent, definitely could have figured it out. It's just that it wasn't sometimes getting to the right person. At those times, they didn't have TV. They didn't have, it wasn't televised as much. And so possibly where they started the crop circles, they didn't have the right people there to decode them. And so they started expanding more, getting it out there. I mean, we've got, so much publicity, it's ridiculous now. You can't keep anything a secret. And so it's not that they were, it was not, it was yes and no, I show. They wanted to see if there was people there not understanding that the intelligence of a human, and what we call a normal human, doesn't have that education to be able to decipher crop circles. It has to be somebody who's literally has a scientific mind that's very educated in mathematics to understand these and decode them. And there was also possibly at the time, now aliens are highly intelligent. They're also higher beings of us. And so what they could have been doing is also contacting a younger selves of them to see if they could read it, trying to give themselves a message, not understanding that them at a lower level can't comprehend it yet.
Okay. I was opening up for you, Dave. Nothing?
No, can you repeat what you just said, Sena?
So seriously?
Yeah, because I just
Not-
you can do a Reader's Digest version of it because I'm trying to absorb what you said and make it make sense.
Okay, so aliens are a future part of who we are. It'd be a future human. And so when aliens come in, they're probably trying to contact a younger version of themselves or an ancestor and making a crop circle in that area, not understanding that that younger version can't understand that, it doesn't have the technology, or I shouldn't say technology, but the smarts at that time, at the level that they're at, to figure out and decipher the code of that. And so that's what they're kind of picking and choosing. It's like, well, this is a younger version of us. They should be able to read it, and they don't. And so
Well, I said a couple of years ago on the show, that the day that a spacecraft lands and actually, like you see in the movies, like it lands and the door opens, right? And the aliens walk out, people are going to shit their pants when it's a human being. Right. And I said that and people thought that was funny. Like I was joking around, and I don't think I am. I think that what you just said kind of resonates in what my thoughts were a couple of years back when I said that. Is that we are trying to reach backwards to teach ourselves something, but then again, that goes back to my question I had earlier. Why can't they dummy it down so the general populace can at least get a foothold instead of keeping it just for the elite individuals that are controlled by the government? I mean, they would have to know that because it would even be in their times. They would have to. Government rule. I don't care what century you go to in our history of the world. There's always been a ruling faction and who controls the narrative. There always has been. All throughout time, any place you look at, there's been a ruling party that has controlled the narrative. So as future beings coming back to an earlier form of yourself, and you're really trying to help and you're really trying to share stuff and make things better, why are you not doing something that everybody can benefit from, and you break the narrative? Because that's what really needs to happen for us to become one. We need to break the narrative. So why are we not breaking the narrative? Is it dangerous? I mean, is that what it is? Is it too dangerous to happen?
Yeah, it might be too much information, but they're also, I'm sure that they have rules that they have to abide by as well. So they can only give so much. So they're only allowed to present it in certain ways. And if we don't understand it, then the ones that do are the ones that are not going to abuse it.
But those are the ones that are controlled by the people that are controlling the narrative.
But it is getting, like I said, it is getting out there though. It is. So if you do, I mean, we have the ability to research it now. And if you're really looking into it, everybody knows, go on YouTube. It's just habit. People just come right out of their mouth. It's like, oh, you're looking for something? Go on YouTube. Everything's out there. So if you do your research, you will be able to find it out. It's not keeping it from you.
You got to dig deeper.
Yeah.
Well, so you last week, you and I had the disagreement on the intensity of the release of getting their message out there, and how you have these little sects that are doing their work like yourself, but it's not enough, and they have the ability to go worldwide. You see it with the crop circles. And to Dave's point of dumbing it down, why can't they put a message in a field that says we are here or something like that, why does it have to be geometrical shapes that only two people in the entire world can understand when they can get their message out like easily? And if they wanted to confuse some people, they could do it in like perfect cursive, and then only like 50% of the world would be able to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
that's one of the funniest things you said in a long time. That is the biggest rip on society in general, and one of the funniest things that has come out of your mouth in a long time. Only 50% of the world to be able to read it. I love that.
But my point sticks. No, my point is relevant.
Valid. Yeah, your point's valid because it's piggybacking off of what I said. So it is valid.
So I mean, why do they have to do it that way? If they're trying to get information out, if they're trying for the world to understand what they're trying to say, why do they say it in a way that only two people in the entire world can understand?
Again, because they probably have rules that they have to abide by. They can give information, but only to a certain way. So you don't know how. Okay, everybody has. This species have laws as well, and I'm sure they're abiding by their laws and being very careful with information they're giving us. And so, if they feel that we're not able to interpret it, there's a reason certain people aren't able to interpret it. And so, and it's not trying to keep it from people doing that. It's the ones that will not cause harm that will probably be able to understand it. And like I said, this information is out there. I'm not just, channeling that. This information is out there. It's not being kept from anybody. It's just the ones that are interested, go do your research. You'll find it.
Do you think that the hybrids are able to interpret it easier than like you and I? Well, I won't say you, like Mike and I.
Depending on, because everybody has what they will so-called master. You've got some mathematicians, some are artists, some are historians. And so not everybody would be able to decipher it. It's going to be your mathematicians, your scientists that are going to be able to decipher this.
All right, so I'm going to dip my toe in the pond here. So who's the governing force that dictates the rules for these species to not be able to just like blow our heads open with knowledge?
Go ahead.
It's the Galaxy Council, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, it is.
I know I shouldn't have asked. So so the Galaxy Council is made up of either what or who?
All different species.
Except humans.
And higher source. Not humans. They are such a lower science project. It's ridiculous.
We're not smart enough for the Galaxy
They are
Council.
such a science project. It's ridiculous. It's all different species, but of higher. Like you've got light workers, you have gods, they're all different levels of higher beings that are on the Galaxy Council.
So do they think that we just couldn't handle the knowledge?
No, it's not that we can't handle it. It's what we keep abusing the knowledge.
Well, when you say we, now we have to put that into terms because I don't abuse any knowledge. So
the humans abuse
we in general, right? Like the 2%ers that run the narrative, the 2% of leaders, those are the people that we're referencing that are abusing the knowledge.
They're blowing up. I mean, they start wars here. They blow up each other. They're blowing up the earth, destroying her. This is where they live. Why would you destroy where you live?
Because
they're killing themselves out. They're putting chemicals in the water and killing each other. Fluorides kills people. They put it in the water. They put it in your drinking water, which they've learned from the Germans. That was learned from Hitler, by the way. One of his scientists learned that that's what he fed the Jews at the camps, is put fluoride in the water to kill them. And when the war was over, of course, the United States, or the whatever we're called now, not that, but the corporation took on those scientists and told us, and literally right after that war, They started putting that in the water that we drink. The humans kill themselves. They blow each other up. They have wars. They're chaotic. They're constantly fighting each other. It's ego, power, money. It's so much hatred and anger here, and it's terrible. And so they have to be careful what they feed the humans here. It has to be kept away from, because if it's in the wrong hands, it can be abused. It's been shown time and time again.
So that goes back to, and I'm trying not to circle back, but that goes back then, if our ultimate goal is to become one and to become completely absorbed as all of us into one cohesive kind of great understanding, then why not start an uprising with the paupers in the streets and give them knowledge that is going to be able to level the playing field and or circumvent the narrative so that we have the ability to become one. So my thought here, and not through war or hatred or anything. So what if you gave 50% of the population who believe in what we're talking about the ability to understand what we don't understand currently, and we all understood it in a way that we became a cohesive collective thought?
We already are. We already are one. I'm you, you're me. We're all living. We are each other, living out different experiences, human experiences. We already are.
Here it comes. Okay, I can't wrap my head around that, and I'm not laughing at you, Sena. Obviously, I love you. But I can't get my head around that. I'm sorry. It's too deep for me, I guess. But
No problem.
And that's why you're not in the Galaxy Council, Dave.
I completely see that now. I completely see why I wouldn't be allowed on the Galaxy Council, because I wouldn't be able to understand that concept.
We are all from one collective, and we're all connected. I'm you, you're me. We're just living out different human experiences. And so many people are manipulated because of power that they have to be careful of who they give this power to. Because even if they feel that you don't have ill will to do anything wrong, you can be manipulated to give that information to the wrong source.
Gotcha.
Okay,
so like
point
anything
taken.
else, right? Yeah. So if you had some secret knowledge and somehow somebody who controls power found out that you had this secret knowledge, they would do whatever it took to get it from you.
What do you think they do to scientists?
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And I know some government would send some hot lady to seduce me, and
oh my God! You can take it. What do you want?
Yeah, I will tell her where my grandma hides her money. I just.
What do you want? Sure.
You could get that. You could get anything you want out of me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting hooded and thrown in the back of the black van and taken to Utah. That's what's going to happen to me.
Well, if we're part of the Galaxy Council, though, we're no longer. I guess I never asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Galaxy Council a physical place where beings go, or like, let's just say for the sake of argument, the leader of the Galaxy Council falls ill with pneumonia. Hypothetically speaking, I know they don't
get sick.
I know, just hypothetical situation.
Okay.
And they're like, Mike, we need your help. You need to fill in just for today. Or his daughter's getting married. You know, he can't be on.
Call you.
Shut up. This is a hypothetical situation.
Oh boy.
Would I leave the Earth, or would it be like a dreamlike state where I leave my body?
It would be a dreamlike state where you leave your body.
So I would leave my body. Okay.
Yes.
But I would still physically be here.
Yes.
Okay. And it could happen, Sena. You don't know.
Oh, yes, I do.
Anyways,
His daughter's getting married, and they need me to fill in for a day.
Stranger things have happened, Dave.
It's just beautiful.
His wife's having a baby. Got to take a time off.
That's right. You know what? Priority, Sena.
I don't think you're next in line.
Well, I should be.
Oh my God.
Maybe everybody in line is going to the wedding. You don't know. So they need an outsider.
They need a fresh perspective, right?
That's
Oh,
right. That's right, Dave. A fresh perspective. Perfectly said.
There you go.
Anyway, is there anything about crop circles that hasn't already been said that you think people should know?
People really need to know that they're from the aliens. It's been debunked so many times. They've been trying to debunk it. They are alien made.
Thank you.
The whole thing, just thank you.
Well, I've been saying that forever. So now I've got somebody backing me up.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, if that's it, anything left, Dave?
Nope. I need to stop asking questions because my head's already spinning. It'll be a week before I can kind of get back to my normal routine.
And I've done my job.
Yep, then you've done your job. Right? You've expanded
accomplished.
the boundaries of my consciousness.
Well, technically, that is your mission, isn't it, Sena?
Yes.
There you go. All right.
Success tonight.
It's
Gold
right.
star. Yep.
Thank you, obviously, Sena, for coming on once again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for asking me to come on. It's awesome.
So, for anybody who has further questions for Sena, or would like to talk to her about anything that she's good at, which is like everything, spiritual anyway, where would they be able to get a hold of you?
To get on my website, it's Insightful Soul, and you can go on my website and actually schedule an appointment. Otherwise, my email address is readingsbysena@gmail.com.
SENA, for
Yes.
those of you who don't know how to spell Sena.
Right on my screen. There's a screen right there. If this is YouTube, it's right on there.
Very true. Very true. So yeah, that does it for here tonight. I just want to reiterate, next week, Dave and I will be on at our new time, 10 a.m. to noon on Sunday. We will have our Christmas episode, in which case we will be giving away several paranormal type stuff, probably a spirit box, one of my demon shirts, maybe K2. We'll see how extravagant I get. But the only way to enter is to send in either a Christmas memory, whether good or bad, I guess, since Dave wants it all. But favorite present, favorite memory, favorite story, whatever. You can go on our website, odysseyfilesradio.com, or email us, odysseyfilesradio@gmail.com, and get submitted. And I'll put that out on social on our pages as well. But just want to reiterate that. So yeah, we'll see everybody next week. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Everyone, have a great night.